Hey everybody, today I have with me my wife, Professor Emily B. from the Economics Department. She is also reading Parable this Sower.
Yay!
She's going to help me today. We have no babies today. Okay, so first announcements. So I sent you all in your groups, I sent you a frequently asked questions list compiled from things that people wanted to know about changes to the class, so please make sure that you read through that. Important notes in there, make sure you are submitting your reading responses by noon on the day that they are due so that you are ready to participate in your discussion. For the discussion summaries / transcripts, you have longer to complete those because I know some of you have technical difficulties, scheduling difficulties. You might not be doing them in real time. So
many difficulties.
So the ones that you're doing today, your discussions, those have to be submitted by end of the day Sunday. You get 2 days to the end of the day. So by midnight Sunday, I need to have those. Reminder that your midterm is due a week from today. So probably should be started on that. 7 days, yes. And if you have questions about anything, email me. Okay, so we're going to start with, I'm going to try and do a 30-second recap. I'm pretty nervous because I don't usually do these.
I've got a timer.
It's going to go really poorly.
Question, are we breaking it into 2 videos? Or making one giant video?
Why are you asking me this now? They're watching us.
It's all right.
It's going to be one video.
Okay.
All right. Tell me when to start my 30 seconds.
Hold on, I have to find the timer.
Okay. See, technical difficulties.
Okay. On your mark. Get set. Go.
Lauren lives in future Southern California where everything is screwed. Outside of her walled community, things are going poorly. People are on the streets and they're homeless and they're getting sexually assaulted and everything is very bad. Many people have taken a drug and it seems to make them want to start fires. Lauren's dad is a preacher and he seems to be in charge of the community. She wants to start her own religion because she's 15 and also she has some kind of hyper empathy so she can tell what people are feeling. And lots of bad things happen. Thieves break in, her brother tries to leave, she wants people to get ready to go and she shoots a lot of guns and then her brother comes back but he's beaten up. That was rough.
That was pretty good.
I feel like I missed a lot.
Yeah, you did.
I missed a whole lot of things. A little kid died. Some rabbits. They tried to stuff some rabbits in some sacks. Baptized. She got baptized.
Crazy wire.
What's crazy wire?
It's a crazy wire that cuts you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy wire and glass and stuff. All kinds of bad stuff. Okay, so things are going poorly. Oh, and it rained. And it hadn't rained in 6 years. That's a bad sign.
And she tries to convert her friend.
Yeah, and then her friend tells her mom. They always do that.
They always do. Sometimes you gotta talk to an adult.
Yeah, but the adults they're not ready to hear it either.
They're not ready to hear her hard truths.
No. Okay, so now it is Chavrusa time. Would you like to start with your question? Or would you like me to start with mine?
I'll start with my question.
Okay.
So, good news. This is my first time doing Chavrusa, so you're all experts relative to me. So I'm gonna do my best. All right, so I did most of the reading. And the question that I couldn't figure out is why she is so into her own religion and God. Like, it seemed like she was having a lot of problems, and I totally got that. And I understood that there was the influence of religion in her life, that would be really important because she's, the child of a pastor. But why did she have to make her own religion? And also, her religious quotes that are sort of embedded throughout the text don't seem that radical. Like, I feel like that would actually be consistent with many interpretations of God. It didn't seem that profound. And my answer that I was a little bit not sure about was that she's 15. She's having a lot of feelings. Mm-hmm. But she seems really into it. Maybe she has a lot of free time?
She does seem to have a lot of free time. Yeah, I was thinking, so she has this religious background. She's definitely going to want to put everything into kind of a religious box. But I was thinking about how her religion is really focused on leaving and change and how she's in a situation that she really doesn't like. And so maybe creating this religion is her way of...
Like her own escapism. Her
own escapism and her... I think it's really... Like, she literally wants to, leave Earth. Because she thinks the Earth is trash. So maybe her religion is really about her own restlessness. And I think maybe a little bit of rebellion with her dad.
Yeah. It just seemed if I was going to rebel against my pastor father, I would reject rather than accept and reform. Like, I feel like I would be more radical.
Go for, Satanism kind of thing?
Yeah, or just, more burn it all down, but not literally, because there's a little too much of that already.
Oh, that's not good.
But I guess maybe if that is to the extent her mind is kind of framed and thinking in that way, then that does make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, well, that's something for you all to think about. My Chavrusa question is, why is her dad in charge of this community? And so my first sort of initial answer is that he's a pastor. But they say that a lot of these people were not actually part of his church before, and some of them aren't even Baptist. So how do they get, like, in this walled community? How does he get to be the leader? And I was also thinking about how he's the dean of a college. And, like, the deans at UVM make a lot of money. Like, he might more of education, maybe a higher class than some of his neighbors. But why does he live there? If his neighbors, like, if he's, like, in a different, like, class strata than his neighbors, then why does he live there in the same neighborhood as these people? Like, not that he wouldn't like them, but, like, how would he come to
because they didn't move in. Like, that was their neighborhood, right? Like, they weren't, because there's a few people who, like, moved in with a parent or something like that. I mean, are they actually that poor? I mean, not, everyone's poor now, right? But is this a lower class neighborhood? Like, were they low SES to begin with? Because, like, they mentioned a 3-car garage. They mentioned a 3-car garage with the rabbits, right? The rabbits and it's like an add-on 3-car garage, so it could be like something kind of ad hoc. But like, I don't know if you have enough land.
3 oil spots, so like somebody used to have 3 cars in there,
and that doesn't strike me as like a pretty like low SES community. So what I'm wondering is like maybe this was initially a community of deans and whatever upper middle class professionals that like. Now, a generation later, is not. And
every one of the relatives has moved into like the most viable housing, which is this like.
Because also, like when they talk about how crowded people are, it's not they're all crowded into 1 bedroom. Mm-hmm. It's that there's 8 people crowded into like 3 bedrooms, and so that's again like a 3-bedroom house where you also had at one point enough resources to build your wall, right? Like even relative to their society at the moment, they're clearly not. The poorest of the poor. Like, there's a long way down to go. There's the unwalled houses, there's the unhoused, and then there's the, like, roaming, unhoused, unwell. So there's kind of, like, a lot of things going on. Which, I don't know if that answers your question, because...
Not exactly. I still don't... I mean, it's definitely moving in a direction.
I just figured he was always kind of charismatic. And, like...
Yeah.
I mean, because it went back
to a lot of confidence.
I mean, it went back to the other question I was choosing between, which was, why does this community work? Like the level, like any type of like cohesive living with like where you have to have trust between families is really tricky. It's the problem of like small business development in very poor countries is that you can build a pretty good sized business within your own family. But then once you start to extend outside the family, a lot of trust breaks down and they're just all the problems with running a business, if you don't have formal contracts, becomes a big problem. But here, that neighborhood runs very cohesively with a lot of trust.
Yeah. They've got the neighborhood school, they've got the patrol.
Yeah, and somehow the dad's been able to...
out shooting.
Yeah, like, has been able to build that and cultivate that. And I don't know, is it, like, something special about that neighborhood that lent itself to that? Or maybe, like, because everyone had a similar experience, they bonded together? Because it does sound like that's... in some ways unique. Like, partially they have a lot of pride in it, but clearly there's a lot more chaos going on, and there's a sense that, like, it could be much worse.
And when the people move in, they're sort of like, what is this community thing? Because they're not used to that kind of, like, interaction with their neighbors, I don't think.
Yeah, I get that impression as well.
Yeah.
So my sense was more just he was the person to do it.
Well, these are all things to think about. I'm also going to make a list of some of my favorite Chavrusa questions from you guys. And, I think that's all we've got for you today.
That's all we have.
So, read those frequently asked questions.
Write that midterm. Discuss.
And I hope everybody's keeping well and not too stressed. All right, we'll be back next week with more from Parable of the Sower. All right, have a good weekend, everybody.